Have you ever noticed that some people seem to make good habits look effortless? They exercise consistently, they eat well, they read books, they save money, they keep their homes really organized. Meanwhile, the rest of us are over here wondering why we can stay motivated for about 4 days before everything falls apart. For the longest time, I thought the problem was discipline. I told myself if I were stronger, if I were more motivated, if I just wanted it badly enough. But I've started to think that that's the wrong question. What if the reason we struggle isn't that we're lazy? What if it's because we're trying to force ourselves into habits that we secretly hate? Today, I want to share a completely different way of thinking about habits, one that has recently taken so much pressure off of me and has actually made change feel, get this, enjoyable. Because I don't know about you, but I don't want to spend the rest of my life fighting with myself. I want to build a life that feels good to live. If you're new here, I'm Ara. Welcome. Every week we talk about building quiet confidence, trusting yourself again, and intentionally creating a life that you genuinely love. Because confidence isn't something that you magically wake up with one morning. It sure isn't. It's something that you build one promise at a time. And habits are simply promises we make to our future selves. I think that we've been taught habits backwards. Stay with me here. Some influencer wakes up at 4:30 every morning, drinks lemon water, journals for an hour. Oh, what else? Goes to the gym, takes an ice bath, and suddenly we think, well, I guess that's what successful people do. So we copy them. Maybe it lasts a week, maybe two if we're lucky, and then we quit. And what do we tell ourselves? I suck. I'm a failure. I have no discipline. Or worse. But maybe, just maybe, you don't have a discipline problem. And I can guarantee you don't suck and you're not a failure or any of the other negative things that you told yourself. But maybe you're trying to live someone else's life. The goal, it isn't to become the woman on Instagram. Nope. The goal is to become the best version of you. And that's a very, very different thing. I recently heard something on a podcast that completely changed the way I think about building habits. So instead of asking, what's the best form of exercise? Ask yourself, what kinds of movement actually sound fun? That one little shift, it changes everything. So instead of trying to force yourself into one answer, you start exploring possibilities. For example, imagine sitting down with a notebook and writing every single way you could possibly move your body. Not 5 ideas, not 10, 50, 50. So walking, running, swimming, kayaking, pickleball, dance classes, yoga, Pilates, roller skating. That's one I love. Gardening, stand up paddle boarding, rock climbing, photography walks, walking your dog like I do Boone, geocaching, Tai Chi, water aerobics, adult gymnastics, obstacle races, disc golf, a mini trampoline, horseback riding, hiking every trail in your county, learning ballroom dancing. I think you get the idea here. Somewhere on that list is probably something that you'd actually look forward to, right? And isn't that the whole point? So here's a perfect example from my own life. I actually love walking and running. I love being outside. I love putting on a podcast or an audiobook or some of my favorite jams and heading down a trail or maybe a tree-lined neighborhood and clearing my mind. Running doesn't feel like punishment to me. It feels like freedom. But strength training, the gym, not my thing. Seriously. Oh, I know it's important. I know I should probably be doing it. But every time I tell myself I'm going to become a gym person, it lasts less than 5 minutes. So instead of beating myself up, I'm asking myself a different question. How can I get stronger in a way that actually fits me? Maybe that's resistance bands at home. Maybe it's Pilates. Maybe it's hiking with a weighted backpack. Maybe using a couple of the kettlebells in my own living room. Maybe even following a 10-minute strength workout on YouTube. I honestly don't know yet. And for once, I'm okay with not knowing because I don't have to commit forever. I don't. I just have to stay curious until I find something that I enjoy enough to keep doing. I just thought of something. Before you leave this video, grab a piece of paper. At the top, write one goal. Maybe it's move my body more or be more creative. Then challenge yourself to write down 50 different ways you can accomplish that goal. Don't stop when you get to 10. The magic happens around 25 when your brain runs out of the obvious answers and starts getting creative. I think you'll surprise yourself. Make sure you do that one. Let's talk about something super fun. Date your habits. This might be my favorite idea yet. Stop marrying your habits. Date them. Think about it. If you were looking for a partner, would you marry the first person you met? Of course not. Probably not. You'd spend time together, right? You'd see what fits. You'd learn what brings out the best in you. Habits deserve that same curiosity. This month, maybe you're dating Pilates. Or next month, maybe you're dating pickleball, which I haven't tried yet. Maybe watercolor painting or meditation. Maybe it's meal prepping. Maybe it's gardening or waking up 30 minutes earlier. Some relationships last, right? Some don't. A lot don't. That's not failure. That's information, and information is incredibly valuable. Let's switch gears for a second and talk about bad habits. We need to make them harder. One of the biggest mistakes that we make is relying on willpower. The truth is, willpower is unreliable. Some days you have it, some days you just don't. That's why your environment matters so much more. Instead of trying to become stronger, make your bad habits harder to do. So if you're trying to spend less time on social media, log out every single time. Delete the app during the week. Charge your phone in another room overnight. Maybe if you're trying to stop spending money you don't need to spend, remove your saved credit card information. I did that. Unsubscribe from those tempting store emails. I had to do something similar with Amazon. So don't judge me, okay? But I used to have a bit of an Amazon addiction. Anytime I was bored or stressed, or honestly just scrolling, I'd find something I suddenly convinced myself I absolutely had to have. But at the same time, I had another dream. I wanted to build my savings. And one day I realized, oh, those weren't just two habits. They were two different futures, right? One future got the excitement of opening another Amazon box. The other got the peace of watching my savings account grow. Those two futures were competing with each other. Think about that. Every time I clicked buy now, I was casting a vote for one future. Every time I chose not to, I was casting a vote for the other. That realization completely changed how I looked at spending. So I came up with a simple little game. Won't work for everyone, but it works for me. I put a calendar next to the bed, and every day I didn't buy anything from Amazon, I gave myself a star. I know. Sounds like something you do in kindergarten. But it worked. The dopamine hit I used to get from shopping slowly shifted to seeing another star on that calendar, and I got really excited. At the end of the month, I'd get an even bigger reward when I looked at my savings account and realized it was actually growing. I did that. Now, to be completely honest, I did fall off the wagon for a little while. I think we all do that, but life happens, right? Here's what I've learned. Falling off, it doesn't erase your progress. You don't start over. You simply cast your next vote. Today, I get to vote again. Tomorrow, I'll get another vote. That's how lasting habits are built. It's not through perfection. None of us are perfect. It's through thousands of tiny votes for the person that you're becoming. Because success, it doesn't always come from resisting temptation. Sometimes it comes from making the better choice just a little bit easier and then repeating it until it becomes who you are. So on the flip side, we need to make good habits ridiculously easy. Make them absolutely impossible to ignore. You want to drink more water? Put water bottles everywhere. Do you want to read more? Leave your book on your pillow. Do you want to journal? Keep your journal open on the kitchen table if you need to. Do you want to stretch every morning? Leave your yoga mat rolled out. Want to practice guitar or something like that? Don't put it back in the case. Every little bit of friction matters. You're designing your environment to help future you succeed. Okay? So here's something else that I've been working on. Words. Words matter. Instead of saying, I need to exercise, I started saying, I'm someone who takes care of her body. Instead of, I need to save money, I now say, I'm someone who spends intentionally. And how about instead of, I need confidence, I remind myself, I'm becoming someone who keeps promises to herself. It's a big deal. Identity always lasts longer than motivation. So when your habits match the person that you believe you're becoming, they stop feeling like chores and they start feeling like evidence. Tiny promises, they change lives. We have this tendency to make huge promises, right? Tomorrow I'll work out for an hour. I'll read 50 pages. I'll write 2,500 words. I'll completely change my diet. And then life happens again. So instead, what if your promise was tiny? One page, one paragraph, 5 minutes, just one healthy meal, maybe one walk around the block. Tiny actions, they don't seem impressive, but they're incredibly powerful because every time that you follow through, you prove something to yourself. You become someone who keeps her word, and confidence, it grows from that evidence, not perfection. So, whenever I'm struggling to make a decision, I've started asking myself just one question. What would future Ara do? Not perfect Ara. Nope, not Instagram Ara. And definitely not someone else's version of success. It's future Ara, future me, the woman I'm becoming. Sometimes our answer is go for the run. Sometimes it's to rest. Sometimes it's to cook dinner instead of ordering takeout. And sometimes it's simply putting my phone down. I don't have to become her overnight. I just have to borrow one decision from her today, and then another tomorrow. So if there's one thing I hope you take away from this video, it's this. Stop trying to force yourself into habits that do not fit your life. Instead, get curious, experiment, play, date your habits, keep the ones that make your life feel fuller, and let go of the ones that only leave you feeling guilty. Because this journey, it isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more fully yourself. One small promise, one tiny decision, one habit at a time, one vote at a time. If this video encouraged you, I'd love to know in the comments. What's one habit that you're ready to let go of? And what's a new habit you're excited to experiment with? I read every single comment and I genuinely love to hear your answer. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe. Every week we talk about confidence, mindset, intentionally creating a life that you don't need to escape from. So until next time, take really good care of yourself. I'll see you soon.